Hey, second graders. My name is Miss Martin. Welcome back for another day of math. Today we are on day 2 of word problems. So please make sure that you have a pencil and a piece of paper ready because you are going to need it if you would like to follow along. All right, just like always, we're going to start with a quick warm up. So let me get my screen going for you. All right. So just like we have been doing every single day with a warm-up, we're going to do a new kind of warm-up today, and this is one of my personal favorites, and it is called SPLAT. You do not need to write anything down for this activity, okay? It's going to be all mental math in your head. Feel free to call out the numbers that you are thinking along the way. All right, here we go. All right, so the first thing you're going to see is a bunch of blue dots. Here they are. All right, so take a look at those blue dots. Count them if you like. Figure out how many blue dots there are. Okay. And you should notice that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blue dots. Okay, oop. Now, splat. Okay, the way that this game works is a black ink spot comes up on top of the dots. Now, if you remember, there were 7 dots before. Now, how many do we see? 3. So how many are hiding? How many dots are hiding? Take a minute, think about it. Let's see how you did. There they are. Excellent. There are 4 dots underneath the splat. And I knew that because if there were originally 7, okay, and there was 3 of them left, I know that 7 minus 4 equals 3. Okay, let's see if we can do another one. Take a look. How many blue dots do you see? 6. Excellent. Splat! How many are hiding? There were 6. Now there are 4. How many are hiding? 2. Correct. I know that for a few reasons, okay? A few things that I thought about in my head were 6 minus 4 equals 2. You could do that. You could do 6. There were 6. 2 went away. And now there are 4. Or you could have thought about it with addition. I see 4 here. If I add 2 more, that'll bring me to my total of 6. Or you could think, well, there has to be 2 hiding because 2 plus 4 equals 6. What a nice little fact, family. All right, let's do another one, team. Here we go. Count them up. How many blue dots do you see? 6. Excellent. Ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Splat. How many are hiding? Let's see if you're right. 4. Excellent. There are 4 hiding. There were 6. 2 of them were still there. I know that 2 plus 4 equals 6, or 6 minus 2 equals 4. Do another one. Count them up. How many do you see? 7. Excellent. 1, 2, 3. Splat. How many are hiding? You're right. All 7 of them are hiding because there are 0 left. I know that 7 minus 7 equals 0, or 7 plus 0 equals 7. There they are. Very good. All right, team. So today we are going to keep working on word problems, but today we have a slightly different goal than we had before. okay? And our goal today is to be able to use the understand, plan, solve, and check model for problem solving. So basically what this means is I'm going to teach you a step-by-step process today that you can use whenever you have a word problem. So I like to call this model or these steps, I like to call them the UPS check. Okay, you might have heard of UPS before. They're a company that delivers your mail sometimes. Okay, and it's U, understand, P, plan, S, solve, and check. Okay, UPS check. Okay, so that is going to be your plan for today as we tackle these word problems. We are going to do the UPS check. All right, so here are the 4 steps, okay, the UPS check. So the first step, like I said before, is understand. Can you say understand? Understand. Very good. And that's kind of what we worked on a lot in day 1, is really being able to understand the story. We spent time reading the problem. Sometimes we read it more than once. You may need to read it twice or 3 times, okay? And you also think about what you're looking for. Remember how we spend time underlining the question sentence? When you do that, it helps you really know what to look for in the story. Okay, and also you figure out what you already know. You may circle important numbers or underline important words, anything that really helps you better understand the story. This is going to be step 1. Okay, understand the story. Do whatever you need to do to understand the story clearly. After you have understood the story, you're going to move on to plan, okay? Now, don't really worry about this stuff right here. We're not really going to look at that too much, but you are going to make a plan. And this is where you choose a strategy. So you might choose a strategy where you're going to use base 10 blocks. You might choose a strategy where you're going to use counters, like little red and yellow circles. You may choose a strategy where you're going to draw circles on your paper. You may choose a strategy where you're going to line up the numbers and add them that way, okay? There are so many strategies that you can use to help you, but you need to come up with some kind of plan to help you solve a strategy, okay? After you've come up with a plan, okay, then you are going to solve it. This is the good part. This is where you're going to get to the answer, okay? You're going to solve it by showing your work, okay? So if you use cubes or counters or a picture, or you just made a number sentence and solved it that way, you're going to make sure that you show all of your work. And you're going to also label your answers. If you look at this example here, they showed their work by writing 3 plus 5 equals 8. And they didn't just write 8 because we don't know what that means. 8 what? 8 boogers, 8 Oreos, 8 what? So they wrote 8 crayons, and that was their final answer. So now that you've gone through the UPS, now's the time to check. Can you say check? Check. Check means to go back, look at your answer, look at your work and say, does that make sense? Okay? You need to make sure that your answer makes sense. If you go and look and you see that it doesn't really make sense that I started with 40 cookies and I ate 3 of them and now I have 92. That doesn't make sense, okay? So you're going to need to go back to step 1, which is understand. So the cool thing about this process is that you can go back to the beginning if you need to, okay? All right, so we are going to get started with our first problem today, and we're going to move through all of the steps to help us get there, okay? So here is our first word problem. Remember, our first step is to understand. What's our first step? Understand. Very good. So I'm going to start by reading the problem or reading the story. Here it is. There were 4 cars parked in the parking lot in the afternoon. In the evening, 5 more cars came to park. How many cars were parked in all? Okay, very good. So I have read the story. Now I'm going to take some time to figure out what I'm looking for. I can find that by looking at my question sentence. Here it is. How many cars were parked in all? Okay, that's my goal. I want to know how many cars there are in the whole park. Okay, in the whole parking lot. Okay, all right, well, what information do I know? I know that there was 4 cars there in the afternoon. I know 5 more cars came in the evening. Okay, so now that I know that information, I think I'm ready. I think I understand my story. I'm going to go ahead and find a plan. Okay, I'm going to go on to plan where I'm going to choose a strategy that works for me. So today we're going to be using Braining Camp. Now, if you guys remember, Braining Camp is a great resource that you could use to play with all kinds of different manipulatives. So Braining Camp looks like this. There are tons of manipulatives that you can choose from to help you with adding and subtracting and all kinds of things. Today, we're going to use a couple of them, and we'll see which one is best for you. So let's start today with linking cubes. I'm going to use the linking cubes today. All right, so let me go back to the story. All right, there were 4 cars parked in the parking lot in the afternoon. So let me get my linking cubes. I'm going to choose one color. I think that'd be best. And how many of these should I take out? There was 4 cars there in the afternoon. 4, excellent. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I have 4 cars parked there in the afternoon. Go back to our story again. In the evening, 5 more cars came to the park. So let me get a different color. 5 more cars came. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, excellent. The question is asking me how many cars were parked in all. So what do I need to do with these 2 towers of 4 and 5 to get my answer of how many cars were parked in all? Excellent. I need to combine them, right? So I'm going to combine my 4 cars here and my 5 cars here and put them together so that I can get my final answer, right? Okay, so let's take a look. I had how many of these cars? 4. How many of these cars? 5. Let's show our work. Okay, let me get out my little pen here. Okay, so I had 4 cars there in the afternoon. It's plus because they are joining together. 5 more equals, what was my answer? 9. Very good. 9 what? 9 cars. Great job, team. And this is my final answer. Okay, so I have understood the story. I planned, I chose a strategy. In this case, I used the linking cubes. I solved it by showing my work. Now let's just check. Does this make sense? 9 cars were there in all. There was 4 in the afternoon. There was 5 in the evening. There are 9 cars in all. Does that make sense? Yes, that does make sense. Very good. Okay, so you guys just went through the UPS check process. You did it. All right, let's move on to our next problem. Here we go. The children found a spider with 8 legs. They found an insect that had 2 less legs than the spider. How many legs did the insect have? Okay, remember, when I understand the story, I might need to read it more than once. Let me read it again. The children found a spider with 8 legs. They found an insect that had 2 less legs than the spider. How many legs did the insect have? Okay, well, after I have read the story, in my understand step, it tells me that I should go and look for the question sentence. So here it is. The question sentence is usually at the end of your story. It says, how many legs does the insect have? Oh, I remember reading about that. So let's go back and figure out the information that we do know. I don't know how many legs the insect has yet, but they did give me some clues. Okay, the first clue they gave me is that there was a spider with 8 legs. Okay? That's a different animal, not the insect. We have a spider with 8 legs. And the kids found an insect that has 2 less legs than the spider. 2 less. 2 less legs than the spider. I wonder what less means. Less. So, okay, so now I have all my information. I know what I know. I know what I don't know. So let's make a plan. Let's make a plan. All right, so let's go back to our braining camp. And I'm going to choose a manipulative to help me with this. Go back. Okay, let's try to use a number line. Okay, so I know, friends, that our spider had 8 legs. So let me put my little dot here on 8. So my spider had 8 legs, and I know that this insect has 2 less. So let's go to our number line. If I want to show less, which way should I go? Should I go this way on my number line? Or should I go this way on my number line? Right, I want to go this way. Okay, I'm going to go backwards on my number line to show less. So I'm going to take my little arrow here, okay? And I want to take away 2. So that's 1, 2, okay? 2 less. And where did I land, friends? 6. Very good. So when I show my work on my paper over here, and you can do this along with me if you would like, okay, let me show our work. We're going to write a number sentence that matches what we just did on our number line. We started at the number 8. We went backwards. So is that addition or subtraction? Subtraction. I subtracted 2. And where did I land? 6. Very good. So I know if my question is how many legs does the insect have, I'm going to say the insect has 6 legs. And that is my final answer. 6 legs. Okay? So I understood my story. I made a plan by choosing the number line strategy. I solved it by showing my work. Now let's check to make sure that makes sense. Does my answer make sense? So the children found a spider with 8 legs. They found an insect that had 2 less legs. The insect has 6 legs. Does that make sense? Is 6 2 less than 8? Yeah, it is. So that makes sense. Okay, my answer makes sense. So I'm ready to move on to the next one. All right, here we go. It says, remember, we're starting with understand. UPS, check. UPS, check. Okay, here we go. Grace has twice as many pencils as Tom. Tom has 9 pencils in his box. How many pencils does Grace have? Let me read it one more time. Grace has twice as many pencils as Tom. Tom has 9 pencils in his box. How many pencils does Grace have? Ooh, wow. Okay. So I read the story. Let's see what we're looking for. I can do that with my question sentence. How many pencils does Grace have? So I'm trying to figure out how many pencils Grace has. There's a boy named Tom in the story, and there's a girl named Grace. How many does Grace have? That's the question mark, okay? That's the part I don't know. But they did give me a clue. They said Grace has twice as many pencils as Tom. Twice as many. I wonder what that means. Tom has 9 pencils in his box. Ooh, that's important information. Tom has 9 pencils. Okay, so I know that Tom has 9. And then Grace, I don't know how many she has, but they did tell me she has twice as many. Twice as many. What does twice mean? Oh, I know. I think it means double. And when you double something, it means you do it again. You do it again. So let's see, friends, if we could find a manipulative that will help me do something with doubles. Let's see. Maybe we could use counters. Okay, let me get out a tens frame here, and we could use the tens frames to help us. Okay, all right, so we're gonna do, remember, let's go back to our story. You know, Tom has 9 pencils, so I'm gonna use yellow for Tom, and I'm gonna put 9 in my tens frame. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So Tom has 9, right? So that's Tom. T for Tom, okay? Now let's do Grace. Now remember, we learned that Grace has twice as many as Tom. So I wonder if I just do another 10 frame, if I double this 10 frame, do it again, if that'll tell me how many Grace has. So let's just do exactly the same thing, kind of make this one look like it's twin, okay? These are gonna be twin tens frames. Okay, all right. So we have our twins here. Okay, so I made doubles. So if Grace has double what Tom has, this is what Tom has, and Grace has double that, that means she has all of this, okay? So all of that is what Grace has, okay? All right, so we could just count it up, or since these are already in a tens frame, okay, I could count them quickly and efficiently. I just move this little guy right there, okay? I will see that I have 10 and 8. And I know that 10 and 8 make 18. Very good, okay? All right, so let's quickly show our work. I know that Grace now has 18, but I can't just write 18, I need to show my work. So basically what I did, friends, was I took what Tom had, which was 9, and I doubled it. How did I show that I doubled it? Good, I did 9 again. Put 9 and 9. And what did I do with them? I put them together. Is that addition or subtraction? Addition. And I know that 9 plus 9 equals 18. Okay, 18 what? Pencils. Very good. 18 pencils is my final answer. Okay, all right, so I understood, I planned, I used the tens frames and the counters, I solved it, and I showed all my work. Now I'm ready to check. Let's see if 18 pencils make sense. Grace has twice as many pencils as Tom. Tom has 9 pencils in his box. How many does she have? So she has 18. Is 18 twice as many as 9? Yes, okay? When you have twice as many of something, it's gonna be more. It's gonna be a number that is greater. So is 18 greater than 9? Yes, it is. It's double, right? Okay. We're gonna do one more story together, and then you're gonna get the chance to do one on your own. Okay, here is our final story. It says, the table shows the number of students in 3 classes. So here's our table. These are our classes. These are our students, okay? We have Mrs. Bookbinder, 23 students, Mrs. Grooms, 25, Miss Gannon, 21. Here's your question. How many students are in these 3 classes? How many students are in these 3 classes? Here's my question sentence. Very important to understand. How many students are in these 3 classes? Well, let's go back and look. Remember, what's our important information? Right, I know that this class has 23. I know this class has 25. And I know that this class has 21. Okay? So now that I understand my information, let's make a plan. So I have many ideas here, okay? I can use manipulatives, or I could draw a picture right here on my paper, or I could line them up, do it the vertical way for addition, totally up to you. Since we have our great manipulatives, I am going to use the manipulatives to help us over on our braiding camp. So let me go back to our manipulatives. I'm going to use base 10 blocks today. Okay. And let's see. We need 10s and 1s. Okay. And let me go back and look at my story again. I have 23 for Miss Bookbinder. Okay, I want to know how many in all 3 classes. So that means I want to join the classes together. So let's make 23. Okay, that's 23 for the first class. I'm just going to draw a line to separate it so it makes it easy for me to see. How many in the other class? 25. 2 10s. And 5 1s. Okay. And then let's take a look how many were in the last class. 21. Excellent. Okay, so that is 2 10s and 1 1. Now remember, the question here says how many students are in these 3 classes. So I want to join these 3 classes together. okay? Almost as if I'm making one big class, okay? So an easy way for me to think about it, okay, is to combine or put them all together. I'm going to move all of my ones so that they're with each other. And then it's going to be really easy to get my answer. Put all my 10s so they're with each other. All right, let's count it up and we're going to get our answer. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. So my 10s have a value of 60. And now let's look at our ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. My ones have a value of 9. So what is my final answer? 69. Very good. All right, so that was our strategy. What did we do to solve it? Right, we used addition. We did 23 plus 25 plus 21, and all together that equaled 69. 69 what? Students. Very good. Okay. I did my U, understand. I did my P, plan. I did my solve, my S for solve, UPS. And now I'm ready to check. 69 students. That should be a greater number than each class individually. Is that true? Does it make sense that there would be 69 kids in 3 classes together? Yes, it does make sense. Very good, team. All right, so here is your final problem that you are going to do all by yourself in a notebook. You're going to go through your UPS check process in order to solve this problem. You might want to write this down in a notebook or take notes as I'm reading it to you. Here we go. This story is called How Much Money? Sarah earned $33 by Friday afternoon. She spent $15 earlier in the week. How much money must Sarah have had before spending her money? Okay, listen one more time. Sarah earned $33 by Friday afternoon. She spent $15 earlier in the week. How much money must Sarah have had before spending her money? So friends, on your own, you are going to make sure that you understand. You're going to make a plan. You're going to solve it. And you're going to check to make sure your answer is correct. Okay? All right. So I hope today that you learned a lot. I hope that after we move on from today, you're going to remember to use the understand, plan, solve, and check method to help you solve all of your word problems. Until then, I can't wait to see the great answers you get on that word problem, and I will see you next time. Bye, second grade.